wonderful world of Disney.
History tells us that the first organized sporting event took place on Mount Olympus in Greece, way back in the year 776 BC. It was here on these historic slopes that the spirit of sportsmanship was born.
Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta. Oh, pardon me. Yes, we Greeks had a name for it. Olympiaki Agionis, which means to you the Olympic Games, in honor of the great god Zeus. Well, here in the shadow of Mount Olympus, the first Olympic Games took place. The ancient Olympic Games were more than a sporting festival. A cultural atmosphere rose from the Games. Yes, history has been enriched by the Olympiads' contribution to civilization, and mankind can be proud of its rules of fair play and sportsmanship, which have descended down through the ages to the present day. Well, as I was saying, the Olympic rules of sportsmanship were so strict that those who entered the contest had to swear to uphold the game's high ideals. Do you swear?
No, I do.
Symbolic of these glorious games is the torch-bearer. May joy and good fellowship reign, and may the Olympic torch continue through the ages. But alas, in AD 394, the Roman Emperor Theodosius forbade the celebration of the games. So the flame was extinguished for the next 1,500 years. But in 1896, the Olympic Games were revived by Baron de Coubertin, a Frenchman, I think, who said, quote,
"The main issue in life is not the victory, but the fight. The essential thing is not to have won, but to have fought well."
And again the symbolic torch was relit. On your marks.
No.
Get set. Go. And so the Olympic torch was carried to all parts of the world.
Rome, Egypt, India, China. Through forests and trackless wastes, over mountains and sea, down to the present day. The ritual of the Olympiads demands that this heroic flame shall not become extinguished. The spoil.
Gymnastics is an ancient Greek word meaning athletic or disciplinary exercise. But the first basic principle of the true athlete is conditioning. There are various ways of achieving this, and... Oh! Sacroiliac, or aching back to you. But you must remember, I'm over 2,400 years old. Well, anyway, Greek kings ruled that all males must strive for physical perfection. These athletes has bodies like Greek gods. In fact, they were Greek gods. Note the perfect muscular development. This is a body. It could use a bit of building. Boy, here, boy. Allow me to present this little gift.
A Greek bearing gifts.
Go, my son, and rebuild up that body.
Now, wasn't that well-spent time? How different we feel. Not tired, but just good old physically fatigued.
Fatigue. Well, is nothing like a quick dip in a real cool pool to refresh one after a workout. When a body rubs a body, coming out to dry. Swimming is man's only means of navigating the waters by using his own muscles. No one knows who was the first human beings to swim, but I am sure we Greeks must have been one of the first to take up swimming.
Swimming in the privacy and safety of your own home, and with the aid of a piano stool, we learn the basic strokes of swimming. Breathing is of first importance, for after all, we must breathe, you know. Now, like a feather in the breeze, glides smoothly into that masterpiece of motion, the graceful swan dive. It is customary to have the pool filled with water. Riding is perhaps one of the most beneficial forms of exercise. The gentle rocking action of the horse acts as an invigorating tonic to those vital organs, the heart and the liver. Now, in the canter, it's the gentle massage of the liver. Whoa! 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 Of course, this gives you just a rough idea of its beneficial qualities. And now we come to the first essentials of riding. The proper costume. The experienced horseman always walks his horse to the stable.
Stable?
Indeed, the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man. Boxing, fishing, swimming, golf. These are all individual sports. Now let's consider a game that takes athletes and welds them into a team. Basketball. Basketball is a Native American game. Before basketball, there existed a need for an indoor winter substitute for football and baseball. Gymnasiums were unable to fill this need with dull classes and calisthenics. Members soon became bored and attendance dwindled. Gymnasiums faced a real problem. In answer to this problem, the new game, as it was originally called, was created in the fertile brain of one man, Dr. James Naismith, who worked for many weeks making drawings, diagrams, and drafting rules.
First, I tried to modify existing games so they could be played indoors. Football, with its kicking, running, and tackling, was too rough. And baseball didn't lend itself to indoor play. However, a ball was an essential of all team games. But how to use the ball? To replace the kickoff, I thought of the center jump. To check running and tackling, I devised the dribble. Then there was the problem of boundaries and how to score. Now, I reasoned that everyone enjoys throwing something at a target, but what to use for a target? This really had me stumped. Then, quite by accident, I found the answer. A peach basket.
And that's how the game got its name, basketball. A YMCA assistant would hang a peach basket high on the gym balcony and retrieve all balls shot into it. This was more or less impractical. So a hole was made in the bottom of the basket, allowing the ball to pass through. Later, a wire wastebasket was used. And finally came the metal hoop with its net as we know it today. Basketball today is the world's #1 sport. Throughout the world, it has more than 20 million players, not a few of them women. And its rules have been translated into 30 different languages. From basketball's humble beginnings in 1892, gymnasiums and auditoriums have mushroomed in size to accommodate the thousands of enthusiastic cage fans who flock to see their favorite teams play. Let's go inside and see how the game is played.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to witness the basketball battle of the century. Here comes the home squad out onto the floor. Just listen to that crowd. And here comes the visiting team. Hooray! 7, 6, 5. Maradou shoots, and he's in. I mean, it's in. Yes, yes. And there's the final gun. PU 36, UU 35.
Well, then, what other Grecian sport are you adept at?
Skiing, or skiing to you.
Skiing? Well, that's one of the few sports for which we Greeks cannot take the credit, mainly because of our lack of snow. So let us swish to Swisherland.
Skiing is fast becoming the most popular of all winter sports. And small wonder, for there is no finer conquest than that of a mountain clad in its glorious winter mantle of glittering white. Oh, yes. And if you should smell something out of the ordinary, don't be alarmed. It is only fresh air. After a vigorous day in the open, the skier never has any trouble falling to sleep.
Naturally, we Greeks was the first to take up the gentle art of self-defense, or boxing. Box fighting, as everyone knows, is a scientific art in which the participant is always in a position to protect himself at all times. Sometimes, as I was saying, the ancient sport of boxing brings out the classical Greek tradition in muscular coordination, grace, movement, rhythm, brain.
time lurches on a few more centuries. Then came the Romantic Age, when chivalry and fair play were introduced. Man has now become a gentleman.